Hi guys. This video is a little different today. There's no intro, there's no outro. It's just me. I know, but I gotta. It's just me having a little bit of real talk. I'm on as of tomorrow, I'm officially 2 weeks away from moving. And I'm really excited, but I'm also really scared. I don't really remember living in the first house I ever lived in just because I only lived there up until I was 5. I don't really remember being there other than seeing home movies. I've only lived in one house my entire life. And because I didn't move away for college initially, I was never forced into that situation where I had to live on my own. I chose to stay at home to help my mom because she was going through a lot. I chose to stay home with my grandma. I chose to be the one to look out for everybody. And now I'm not gonna be there anymore. So for one, I'm really worried about what's gonna happen after I leave. First of all, I was really worried about my grandmother being alone during the whole day because normally I would only be gone about 4 to 5 hours a day, and then I'd come home and I'd see her and I'd help her with whatever she needed. And then my mom would come home, but up until about a couple days ago, I thought she was going to be alone the entire time. But thankfully enough, my aunt and her son will be moving into the house just so that there are some people still with her. And it's not just my mom and her alone. Secondly, my mom, she's had a rough couple of years, especially with everything that my father has put us through, as well as dealing with lawyers and all these paperworks and paying for our house because this house does have a mortgage on it. It's very expensive. She works hard to pay it every single month and she's never late. She always has me help her with the bills and anything she doesn't understand, she comes to me directly. So now I'm just worried, who's she gonna go to for help because my aunt is just starting to take care of herself as well, and her son is not completely fluent in English, but he is in college, so I don't know if he'd be able to do it. And also, my mom, anytime she has a bad day, she just walks up to me and gives me a hug. Whether or not I need it, she needs it. Because the second that she found out that my father was not being faithful, that morning she had to take me to school. And she said all she wanted was a hug. It kills me to know that I'm not gonna be here for my family anymore. It makes me feel really selfish for leaving. But also, I have been using them as an excuse to stay home for a really long time. There have been points in the past couple of months where I've told myself I want to move out. I can't take it anymore. My mom is doing this, she's doing that. I can't take any of this anymore. Most of it was rooted because of Kobe and what we were going through as well. But then my mom... When everything had gone down with Kobe, she was the first person to run into my room. She was the first person to tell me it's okay to cry about everything that was happening. And when my grandma found out I was moving, the first thing she asked me is, "Are you sure you're going to be able to eat enough?" Because in Asian, and not just Asian, but mostly Chinese and Thai culture, from what I've noticed, they don't really say "I love you" as much. They show you that they love you. For example, my grandma is always willing to cook anything that I ever want to eat. She always asks me, "Have you eaten yet? Are you hungry? Do you want me to cook something?" That's how she's saying "I love you." Normally, on a regular basis, my family says "I love you" on Christmas. That's it. Or on birthdays. We don't really say it out often. And I started doing that more. I tell my mom I love her whenever she leaves. She doesn't necessarily say it back, but then every time she checks up on me, "I'm going here. Do you need this? I'm going to go get food. Do you want something? Do you want me to bring you to go?" That's her saying "I love you." That's her showing me she cares. But now I'm just not gonna have it anymore. And it makes me really worried to think that they'd be alone without me. But the thing is that they're not going to be. And in all honesty, I'm actually just really scared to move because most of my friends know that I'm not a big fan of change, and especially with everything that has gone on in the past couple of months, I need a better change for myself. And it's just a lot. I've never actually moved before. When I was a kid, we moved 2 streets away. So it didn't feel like a big deal. And honestly, I barely remember the first house that I lived in. We lived in an apartment for about the first year or two of my life, I think. I'm not even sure because I see pictures of myself in that house being a baby. I'm not sure if we moved from that apartment because my sister was born into an apartment. And I barely remember the first house I lived in because we moved when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And then when we got here, we just stayed here. I've lived here for about 13, 14 years already. And I've never lived anywhere else. I've stayed at people's houses, but I've never actually lived anywhere else. When I was younger, I was so scared to go anywhere to sleep over. I would always have people come sleep over at my house just because I was so afraid of leaving the house. When I was younger, I was like maybe 8. I went to go sleep over at my family friend's house, and I cried the entire night. I was sobbing, and no one could comfort me. My parents used to go to the casino to spend a night to get away from us. I completely understand. I was a piece of work. But I would be sobbing all night long, and I would sleep in their bed. And I would be just in pain, just like, why would they leave me? Why would they ever want to leave this house? And my dog is kicking in his sleep. And my brother has lived in this house, my sister has lived in this house, and they both left, but I could never understand why. Like, I know it's for school and it's important, but this is what we call home, so why would you ever want to leave? And every time I think about me leaving personally, I get really freaked out. Because most of the time, whenever I make plans with someone, right before it happens, I always feel the need to cancel it. And sometimes I actually do. And I know that that's really horrible of me because people make plans during their day and they don't like to cancel them. But for me, I just get so scared and anxious about leaving the house that I'm so anxious that something is going to happen in the house while I'm not here. So sometimes I get so anxious and I just cancel my plans, or I'll shorten the time, or I'll change the plan. And it just makes things so much worse because when I leave the house to go to school and I come back, I know that I'm always coming back. I need to have like a specific time set frame. I'm really OCD that way. If I'm not on time for something, it's just going to piss me off the rest of the day. And I know that if I'm coming home late, then it's going to get me in trouble at home. And it's just so stressful for me to have to keep that time frame. So most of the time, I'll just cancel plans and not even worry about having to have a time frame because I'm home all the time. I don't know what to do. I really do want to make myself better, and I want to be able to move on, and I want nothing more than for myself to be happy. And I know that moving is a very good choice. For one, I already moved all of my FAFSA there. I already enrolled for classes there. I bought new volleyball shoes. Like, your girl is moving. But just makes me so scared to think that I won't call this place home anymore. I've lived here my whole life. How can this not be home to me? Everything I own is in one place. And like how my sister went to school, she dormed, she left some stuff here and then she moved out, she brought it all with her, or she just threw it all away. I never understood how she could do that so easily. I mean, it probably couldn't have been so easy for her. But it looked like she was completely fine with it. And I understand that you lose sincerity for stuff that you haven't seen in a long time. But for me, I'm a very sentimental person. I keep almost everything. Like, I have a costume from sophomore year from my very first play. I have all of my scripts from high school, including my script from middle school when we did one musical. I've kept all of my sheet music from when I was in choir. I still have all of my volleyball gear. I did not throw any of it away, except for those knee pads. I use those for dance practice. But I have new ones now, so it's okay. Amazon boxes I only throw away when I'm cleaning out my room. And even if I clean out my room, I need to have like maximum motivation. In order to pack all of this stuff, I need like 5,000 times my motivation. Because I literally have none. If you tell me to do something, you keep bugging me to do it, I'm not going to do it. It's so bad of me. And then I'll do it on my own. I understand that's like somewhat good, but I need to be able to do something when someone tells me to do it. This is one of the problems I had with my mom. I've always had this problem when I was a kid. I would say I was going to do something, but I never do it. And it's just grown and grown and grown. And it's really awful of me. I don't know where I was going with that. It's not even late. It's like 9:30, I think. 9:37. It's not late. We did have a little party today. I tried setting up my microphone, but because I do not have a audio splitter, like a headphone and a microphone splitter, I ordered one, and I've just been having, I don't know. I always doubt myself right before something big happens. This kind of feels like when you're going up a roller coaster. So right now I feel like I'm getting latched in and they're checking my seatbelt. And I feel like these next 2 weeks is just going to be that upward climb towards that humongous drop. And the day I actually leave this house is when I'm going to drop. And I don't know if the roller coaster is going to pull back up and pull me out of whatever funk I'm in. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be better or if I'm just going to fail at everything. I just don't know what to do.